A very good afternoon to everyone. It was an amazing panel that we just heard, and so much of what I'm going to speak today is a lot to do with what they spoke about. I think what sets me apart from, well, doesn't really set me apart, but helps me reiterate what they've said is that we as a company, Tables does both. We do franchises, and we have done homegrown concepts as well. To go on, food is no longer about sustenance. It is about the therapy of cooking it, finding new flavor profiles, discovering interesting combinations, mastering the art of a beautiful dish. I am here before you today to express my love, not just for a plate of ingredients, but the experience and memories that food has always brought for us, even today. I'm here to talk about how that love transforms into business, be it franchising or creating our own concepts, and both of these ideas finding their own place in the market that we have today. Food has now crossed boundaries. We are blessed with a diverse and well-traveled audience, especially in this market, in front of whom we are able to showcase the brands that we create or that we bring into the market. Destinations in the Middle East are a combination of shopping, sites, and retail, a large part of which is the experience of food. Developers now recognizing this, and as we get closer to the 2020 vision, the F&B industry is striving to create and bring these new experiences. We are from a market where the F&B service sector is filled with franchise brands from around the world, and franchising a successful concepts does definitely bring in tangible benefits to us as operators and customers in this region. Everyone constantly is always trying to do better than the other, and the standard, the bar always gets raised to better service, better food quality, and better prices. The support from the franchisors, their creativity, things that we as operators have access to, of course, help us to learn, and it also helps us to stay focused with a lean structure. This situation helps us to, sort of bring in multiple brands with still having not having very large overheads. Franchise concepts always have the audience as well, and this brings in traffic. And I think developers also prefer this since it always fills that stop gap, that gap that they have, especially when they're catering to such a diverse demography. Flip side, of course, working with strong brands means stricter rules from them. Franchising often comes with large financial commitments, as we've just heard. Franchise fees, royalties, supply chains are often controlled by them. This means irrespective of the performance of the brand in the market, costs are always higher. My favorite bit about being in the F&B business is the creation of my own concepts. They are called Homegrown, but they're grown out of the passion of our hearts. Our passion for food, the urge to give something better to the community. Born first in our imaginations, discussed, refined, discussed again over tables, at home, in our offices, tested and retested and defined and refined before offering it to our customers. Creating our own concepts mean usually that we can unleash our creativity and really think out of the box without being controlled by anyone or anything other than the potential future customers and their preferences. This process usually tests our limits, pushes us to step out of our comfort zone, and ideas start flowing. Many creative minds meet, and they always pick one idea from dozens that end up creating something from within the team that everyone takes pride in and everyone advocates. With control over the money spent, full design freedom, freedom to franchise, independent operators Someone who is just starting might think that this is the easy way, but it truly is not. The creative process is an extremely exhaustive one. It is extremely time consuming. It needs perseverance, endurance, and a significant financial commitment before the results start kicking in. The creative process needs to go through multiple iterations before we get it just right. Most of the time, we learn from our mistakes and correcting them quickly. Creating your own concepts means building a strong and resourceful team with independent thinking capabilities. Keeping such a high-performing team engaged and motivated often can be challenging, but extremely passionate. It is also a challenge to get developers to accept untested new concepts, but this is slowly but surely changing. Gone are the days of creating a restaurant, a menu, and being done with it for another year or two. Constant innovation, evolution. The guests of the F&B sector today look for novelty. Novelty not just in the food, but also in the experience. These experiences are becoming more radical and extreme every day. Dinner in the sky hanging 50 meters from the ground, or an impromptu secret dinner club which you are invited to, and everything from the food to the venue to the menu is a surprise. Even though these may be one-offs, there are a lot of more revolutions coming into the mainstream as well. People want to try new food, new combinations, new amalgamations. Formats like food trucks, which have always existed, when they come into a market like this, and there is the last exit where temperatures are soaring and people are lining up, is telling us something. Innovation, and innovate not just our business practices, but also our service, food, and experience. Make decisions that the principals of the franchises that we work with would want to follow suit from. Technology has, of course, been both a boon and a bane for people of our industry. Undoubtedly, social media is powerful. When your 7-year-old son overhears your travel plans and advises you to book through Trivago.com because it gives you the best rates, you know that YouTube ads work. The trick is to use this energy in the right direction. Food apps, for example, give us great positive boost, but it also makes the brand name vulnerable to the critics of the ill-informed. But how can we use this information that the apps are giving us? We as a company not only use them in our daily, weekly briefs in the restaurant, but also challenge ourselves and the restaurants to get better scores. A good business decision is only as good as the data that it is based on, and all this technology gives us real-time data that helps us make quick business decisions and changes. So where is the equilibrium between franchise brands and homegrown concepts? Customers in the region have got smarter and definitely more demanding for something novel than a cookie-cutter model, where our operators pick something from a different city and a different market and Alt-C and Alt-V. Making franchisees realize that some adaptation of the brand to the local market is necessary. We as a company try to work with brands that have that open-mindedness to kind of collaborate and make decisions that raise the value of the brand in this market and all over the world. A mixed portfolio often helps to attract and retain great talents. A high-performing team that can be challenged will put out great performances. It can also help in our search for good real estate, forming better relationships with our developers when they realize that our passion is not just the operation of the restaurant, but also our creativity and passion. If, as members of the F&B fraternity, we are becoming complacent in our areas, let me tell you that it is going to be a short-lived tenure. Irrespective of a concept that is franchised or one that is homegrown, is it truly adding value to the market? Is there a unique offering? These are questions that we should constantly be asking ourselves. Is something we have created truly deserving to have a place in the food scene, or is it just another run-of-the-mill burger chain. We should not only identify and cater to the underserved market, but be constantly on the lookout for new niches, ones that haven't been identified, and truly raise the bar of the Middle Eastern food scene, because today we have the opportunity to do so. With the changing macroeconomic conditions of the Middle East, the F&B sector is definitely impacted, but a skillful sailor, I believe, is never made from sailing in the smooth seas. This year, for me and for the company, is a year to learn, to implement, and to triumph. Thank you.